Hi, I am Christelle, and you're watching a video that I made while performing the grant project assigned to me during my internship at DMV Batch 4. It was an interesting project. We were assigned a link from Danish, and that link gave us access to the virtual environment ESSI. So first we have to enter the settings, the necessary settings for being able to work in the virtual environment that we call GSS servers. Okay, and the frame rate must be fast. Okay, and now we click on connect to be able to see the virtual environment. So we launch on the browser the IP of the servers. We enter the credential that were given to us by Danish. And after connecting, we're going to have the virtual environment. So we have one server and 2 machines, 3 machines in total. The first task will be to create a domain controller. So I'm going to launch the server. After launching the server, the first step is going to be to take a snapshot of our server, because we never know what can happen. It's good to have a snapshot so that in future, if something bad happens, we have something where we can restore our machine. We have a stage where we can restore to. So we take a snapshot, we give it a name. We're going to call it Fresh Install. And we unclick snapshot the virtual machine memory. We have to clear that, and we click on take snapshot. After doing the snapshot, the next step will be changing the name of the machine. So we can go to the settings or to this PC. So we're gonna go to this PC, property, and change settings. So we can type change, click on change, and we can type the name of the computer. We're going to put as the name of our controller, we're going to name our controller GCCT. After naming our computer, we're going to click OK. And after that, we're going to restart our. We have the option to restart the machine later. We're going to restart it later. Before doing that, I want to, after changing the name of the computer, we have the option to restart our computer. We're going to do some setting before restarting the computer. We're going to turn off the Windows firewall and verify that our computer is updated. After doing that, we're going to restart our computer. So I just turn off Windows firewall, and my computer is good to restart. It's going to update the computer. It's always good to update the computer before putting the settings on for the computer to be the domain controller. So I'm gonna pause the video and yeah. So now that our computer is already restarted, we're gonna go to the next step. We're gonna assign a DNS server address to our domain controller. So Control Alt Delete to log in our server machine. Password. I'm gonna maximize a little bit. So we wait for the server manager to finish, to be ready. One thing that I would like to add is this lab helped me to understand more how the managed environment work, how to set up a domain controller, how to work with Active Directory, and all of that. So we're gonna go to the internet network, Ethernet, change adapter option, property, Internet Protocol version 4, property, and we're going to use the following DNS server address. We're going to type 127.00.1. That is the local host address. That means whatever address will be the domain controller, you're going to always go through this first before going outside. We're going to go to the server, all the machines that we're going to join to this domain controller. Going to refer to this server before referring other IP address to request the information they need for the domain name services purpose. One thing that I learned while doing my research is for the setup of the domain controller, you have to launch all the services of the local server. So after launching it, we're gonna add the Active Directory domain services. Now we wait for the installation to be complete. For the video to not be long, I'm gonna pause and come back when the installation will be finished. Now the installation of the Active Directory is finished. Now we're going to promote the server to the domain, and for doing that we have to click on this link, promote the server to domain. We're going to add a new forest. We're going to specify the domain information. In our case, it's going to be dcct.jobskillshare.org. Then we're going to click on next. We're going to enter the password of the administrator. We're going to confirm it. Click next, and we wait for the NetBIOS domain name to appear by itself. And after that, we're going to click next. And we have to click next. Review the option, click next. Okay, successful. We're going to click install to begin the installation. We wait for the DNS to finish, the installation of the DNS to finish. And now we're going to restart our machine. Our machine has start. We're going to log on. We wait for the server manager to be ready. And now that the server manager is ready, we see we have Active Directory installed, DNS installed. And we can go to the second and third task. We're going to be join the machine to the domain and create LBS and user account. So we're going to launch the Windows 10 machine. This is the first Windows 10 machine. From my understanding, first, I have to create the user account before set up the machine. But while I was doing this lab, I learned that we can set up the machine with local accounts and then log in to account that we create on Active Directory later on the machine already set up. Because I was asking myself, do I have to create the user before set up the machine? No, I can create local account user, join the machines to the domain, and now use the account create or Active Directory on the server, use them to log on the machine that is joined to the domain. So I am creating the user ctldes and ctstaff2. Supposed to be ctstaff1, but I will correct that later. So we go finish the setup of the first Windows machine, Windows 10 machine. So here it's where I say I could have created a local account like student, but for my understanding, I thought I have to use the user the account that I've created on Active Directory. No, I can set up the machine with a local account. So I am setting up the machine. I have to confirm the password. So I have to enter the security question for this account. The security question are those questions you are asked when you forgot about your password. So we have 3 security questions. For the purpose of our lab, I just chose randomly question and answer questions 3. So now we have our first Windows 10 machine, which is about to be ready. This is a good sign. And I want to say that these steps take, like they say, several minutes. So for the purpose of the lab, I have to kind of put pause and kind of do tasks in parallel. So we're going to go to the second Windows 10 machine and finish with the setup with the same thing. And I'm going to use the staff account. I use staff2, but I'm going to correct that later. So as I say, while we were working on the first machine, we don't have to use the account create on Active Directory. We can use local account to set up the machine and later log in with the account create on the domain controller after joining the machine to the domain controller. So we enter the security question. I told you those questions will permit you to recover or create a new password when you forget about the password. So we have both of our machine, our Windows 10 machine, almost ready. Question 3. Almost. And yes, we have our machine. I'm going to join the first machine. So we gotta go to the settings, system, about, rename this PC advanced, change, and here we can click on domain, type the name of the domain, and the machine will ask us for the credential of the administrator of the domain. We enter the credential. Okay. And when we join the domain, we're going to be welcoming with a message stating welcome. Like here, welcome to gcctjobstation.org. Computer has to be restarted. Close. Restart. We're gonna do the same with Windows, the second Windows 10 machine. So now we're gonna go in the network settings to add the IP address of our domain controller as DNS server of the Windows 10 machine so that our machine can access to the internet. If you don't do this setting, you will not access to the internet. So we're gonna fix the DNS address. Excuse me. It's gonna be 168.10.57. And we can add 888 as alternative address. Okay, close. So we are on the second machine. gotta go to the system about in the same time I want to correct the error that I've done. Remember I was talking about CT staff 2 as user, but it's CT staff 1 because the CT staff 2 we're gonna use that user for another task, not right now. So here is CT staff 1, CT staff, not CT staff 2. So I have to correct this so that I follow the step of the lab. So it's good to follow the step. Because the CD staff 2 will be created with the SR tool on the help desk machine, but now we create the CD staff on the Active Directory. Yes. So now I have to sign out, and I'm gonna. This is what I was saying, that you can have a local account city staff 2, and I'm gonna restore the snapshot. Here is how we restore the snapshot. Restore, so that I will go to the step where I didn't have the city staff 2, and I could install the city staff 1, city staff, and I work from there. I don't want to have like a mix of name. I want to follow the lab, and it's by doing that I just understand that I could have a local account to set up the machine, and then later, after creating an account on Active Directory, I can log in with that account after joining the machine. So now, what I'm going to do is join the first machine to the domain. So here I'm going to name the computer. And join to the domain. So enter the credential of the administrator of the domain controller. And I must restart the machine. So this is our second machine where we restore the snapshot, and we're gonna go through the same step, because at that moment I was thinking, okay, the local account must be the same as the accounts that are created on Active Directory. But as I repeated, it doesn't have to be the same. You can use another local account, and later after joining your machine to the domain, you can log in the account that you create on Active Directory. So when our machine will be ready, we're going to join to the domain. Meanwhile, we're going to go back to the help desk machine, and I want to show you how to verify that your machine is joined to the domain. So for do that, so while we go back to the Windows 10, the second machine, to add it to join into the domain controller. So you work in a work group, change the name, so T Windows 10 2, and domain, put the name for the domain controller, gcct.javaskshare.org. We don't use the capital letters, so I'm gonna use the lower letter. Okay, now we have an error, and I know why, because we didn't add the DNS address. So we have to go to the networking settings and add the domain controller address as DNS servers for this machine. So enter the address of the domain controller, and we can add the address of Google as the alternative DNS server. So I go to the server machine to get the address, the exact address. So this is the server machine. Control Alt Delete. Type the password. And go to the command prompt to have the exact address. 192.168.10.57. So I type type the required address 192.168.10.57, and I can add 8.8.8.8 as the second data server. So now we good. Okay, and we are prompted to enter the name and the password of an account with permission to join the domain. So we type administrator account, and yes, we are joined the domain controller, and we must restart our machine. Restart now. So to verify that we have really joined the domain, I want to show you a method to do that. So I'm going to close this. Now I'm going to go to the command prompt. EFD, and we type the command who am I. That command will tell us if we have joined the domain. So I'm going to sign out, and it's at this moment that I say, hey, look, C staff, I will log in as C staff, right? Let me put the password. Okay, let's go to the command prompt, and let's launch the command who am I. Okay, it shows that I am on a local account. Okay, and it's at that moment that I understand the difference between local account and an account that is an Active Directory. And I knew that I could set up a machine with a local account and then log in with an account on Active Directory when the machine is joined to the domain. So now I'm going to click on Other User and type DCCT 0/CT staff password. Type the password. And now we're going to launch our command who am I. I do the same on the index machine, DCCT 0 /CT helpdesk. Tap the password. And now let's see. Let's see what happened when we type the command who am I. So here on the LDS machine, I type who am I, SQDN, and yes, Now we have joined the domain. I do the same on the second machine. CMT. Oh, am I? /FQDN. Yes. So this is how I verify that I'm joined to the domain. Task 4, set up LDS machine, install RSAT tools, create CTStaff2 account. With the RSAT tool, the LDS is going to create the CTStaff2 account with the RSAT tools. To download the RSAT tool, to install it, I go on Settings, Apps and Feature, Optional Feature, Add Feature, and I type RSAT. And I see RSAT Active Directory Domain Service and Lightweight Directory Services. I check that and I install that. And I wait for the installation to finish. And here is how we install RSAT tool on a machine. RSAT tools is that feature which is going to permit to the LDEX to have the admin right. So when the administrator wants to give full right to the LDEX, here is what he do. And with that, I'm going to look for Windows Administrative Tools, and I'm going to look for Active Directory User on computers, and I'm going to be able to create that user with that. So I go to the Forest User, and I click the U. I click on User, User, and I type the information, CTStaff2. CTStaff2. The password. And don't forget to check user was changed password at test login. This is for the purpose of our lab. And the user is created. We were able to create a user with the RSAT tool. Now the next step, we're going to log in to the second machine using CTStaff2 account. So I'm going to launch the second machine. I'm going to click on Other User. I'm going to type DCCT0 / CTStaff2. We'll type the password, and this is for login with the user account that I create on the domain with the address account on another machine and with RSAT tool. So now the machine is setting up, and we will be able to use the account CTStaff on this computer. That's how we can create an account in Active Directory, and somebody outside of the service can log in this account on another machine. As I told you earlier, the project was very interesting. I learned a lot. So now that our machine is ready, we can check with our command, who am I? And we're going to see that effectively the user is, there is an error on the command. I put who am I question mark, it's who am I, and it shows me the name / the user account. Okay, so now we're going to go to the next task. Task 6, install Office 365 software for staff 2, city staff 2. So we had an assignment where we will create Office 365 access. So we're going to use that access to download Office 365 for staff 2. So we're going to launch the browser. Sorry. After launching the browser, we've got access to the portal of Office 365, which is portal.office.com. Okay, so I already have an access. I have an address. I'm going to type the address and I'm going to sign in. x-20@crystal324.onmicrosoft.com. Next, enter the password. Sign in. Gonna choose the option skip for now. Yes. And here is our access to Office 365. So Office 365 is a web app. So we're gonna install Office through the web app. We click on Install Office. We have two options. We choose the second option. What is that option? We go to App and Device, and we click on Install Office. So here's how we install Office on the desktop. Open the file. We got to enter the information of the administrator, and that's account. And we gotta wait. done. We're going to close. Just a few more steps. We'll wait. And we're gonna go search for office. So I think I went early and I didn't find it. So now it's good to go. And we can go to the 7th task, which is configure Outlook for staff 2. So here's our office. What I'm going to do, I'm going to put Outlook on the desktop, the shortcut, and I'm going to begin the configuration. So we're going to launch Control Panel, going to change one icon. I'm going to go to the Mail, Microsoft Database, and there we're going to choose Prompt for a profile because we want any account, cloud account, to be able to connect. So we're going to prompt so that you can enter your information, and we're going to go Mail. We could, after do that, we're going to add a profile. Add. Going to type a name, a profile, and we're going to enter the information of the account. So I'm going to type the email address, I'm going to type the password, and I'm going to click next. So I enter my name, the email address, password, next. Going to continue with the configuration. Going to enter the password. And I'm going to go next. And we'll wait. Again, we're going to log in. And we are all set. Done. Going to pass to the next stage. And we're done. We're going to click on Finish. And now we can go on the desktop and launch Outlook. So when I launch Outlook, I am proud and I can launch the profile that I already had. That is the account of the city staff 2 user. And now Outlook is launching. and I have to accept the license agreement. And here is my Outlook. Close. Now I have Outlook on my machine and I am connected to Microsoft Exchange. Now we can go to the next task, install PDQ on eldest machine and deploy FileZilla. So I'm going to connect on the eldest machine and we're going to close all the windows and we're going to download PDQ to be able to deploy FileZilla on Staff 2 machine. So I'm going to launch the browser. The first time that I've launched the browser, so we're going to access for some confirmation. So I'm going to go to Google and I'm going to search for PDQ download. So we're going to go through this link, PDQ deploy, and we're going to look for a link who say trial, start 14-day trial. Gonna register or start our free 14-day trial. So I enter my Gmail address and it says that it doesn't accept Gmail address, so I have to put my Outlook address, Microsoft address, and I'm gonna connect on eldest machine with my account, my Outlook account, so that I will have the link necessary to download PDQ. Okay. So I'm gonna launch Outlook. And here is the mail from PDQ. So we're gonna open it and launch the link to download the app. Download PDQ deploy. So I launch it and the download gonna begin. So we are downloading the app. and we're going to launch the app. But install it. Next, agree. Next, install. Finish. And this is how we install PDQ deploy. Now we launch PDQ. Gonna click next. Gonna use enter the password of the administrator. After entering the password, I'm gonna click on finish. And PDQ deploy will be launched. And here is PDQ deploy installed. So we have the package. The package have the software that we can deploy. Here FileZilla is not in the package. We're gonna have to download it. So we're gonna go to the web browser and we're gonna type FileZilla, download, and gonna click on go to download, and we're gonna click on download FileZilla client. For Windows, we gotta so the download is finished. Now we're going to create a package, a new package. We're going to name the package FileZilla. We're going to go on steps. Install. FileZilla. Go to browse to the download folder where we have the executable of FileZilla. Go to save. Go to close that. I wanna excuse myself for all the background noise that you have. I hope you will not disturb your focus. So we have our package files that are created. We're going to go and deploy. Click on deploy once. This window's open. I'm going to choose our target, Active Directory. I'm going to choose our machine, computers, good machine. I'm going to click on the arrows, close, and we're going to click on deploy now. We wait. We see try to connect. We wait. We fail. So we're going to begin to troubleshoot. See what caused the deployment to not go through. We're going to edit the package. We're going to customize the command line. We're going to add this forward slash S. Sometimes it solves the problem of the deployment that failed. Okay. We're going to deploy again. This is going to deployment. It failed. Okay. So now what we're going to do is we're going to see if we can communicate with the machine that we are trying to access to deploy. So we're going to go to the command prompt and we're going to try to ping the machine that we try to access. So let's go get the IP address of city staff. CMD IP config. So the IP address will be 192.168.10.214. Can we pick the this machine? Let's pick the second machine, the user machine. Pick 192.168.10.214. The pig is not going through. How come do we want to deploy something onto a machine that we cannot even ping? That's not possible. So we have to resolve that communication problem. The ping has to go through so that we can do the deployment. So first, to fix the ping issue, we're going to enable. First, we're going to allow the remote connection. By doing that, we have to type enable and click on allow remote connection. We're going to do that on the user machine. Gonna select change settings to allow remote connection to the computer. It's checked. Apply. We entered admin credential. And this credential. Enable remote desktop. Confirm. Gonna try the ping again. The ping doesn't go through. We have to turn off firewall. That's another things to do. So we're gonna go on the user machine, firewall, type firewall, the search bar, and we gotta turn off firewall. So we are prompt to enter the admin account. After doing so, turn off the firewall. Okay. We try to ping again, and now the ping is going through. So we're gonna try to deploy. I'm going to go to the package, FileZilla, where right click, redeploy, target, confirm everything, deploy now, and compile running. Went through. Successful. Now we go on the Windows 10 super machine, and we gotta go. Let's reduce all that Windows, and if we launch type Windows, we're gonna see FileZilla. FileZilla has been deployed. We can launch it. Here is FileZilla. So it's working. It was being deployed from the LDS machine. Now we can go to the 9th task, connect our premises Active Directory to Azure Active Directory. So we're gonna use, you have to download the Azure Connect, Azure AD Connect. That's the first thing to do. We download it. After downloaded, we're gonna do this tag. I'm gonna do this tag by, I'm gonna have two approach for this type. I'm gonna first create, after downloading, Azure AD Connect. So for do this step, I have an approach. I went to the server machine. I create an OU on the server machine. Let me close all of this window and let's go to the server machine. So I went to my forest and I created an OU with 2 users. So my approach was, after creating those 2 users, if I was able to transfer them to my Azure AD, for me, that will show how I connect my Active Directory to my Azure AD. So let's create the OU. Now we're going to call Office 365. We're going to call our own Office 365 and we're going to create 2 users. Sync 1 and sync 2. So this is sync 1. And sync 2. So they are created. Good. So now we're gonna go to the Office 365 folder. So I need to add this website. I use Internet Explorer and the setup. So let's so we're gonna download the Azure AD Connect. So my browser is not set up, so I have to add this this URL to the trusted site, the list of the trusted site. Steve. Run. Okay, it's installed. Alright, I agree. Continue. Use Express settings. Okay, gotta add the required component. Install. going to install the required component. Okay. Okay, so here is how we set the security of Internet Explorer was on. Security settings. So we go on portal as .azure.com and we sign in with our Office 365 account. Next, we enter the password of our Office 365 account. And we go to Azure Active Directory. And we're gonna see our domain information. Our primary domain information is linked. Good. Then we're gonna go on Active Directory. Use the computer. Where we have our home view. We're gonna go on and we see that the sync has never run. So now that the customer domain name is available, we're gonna continue with the app of Azure Active Directory Connect. We're gonna enter our address, username, with password. Next, Now we're going to connect our directories. We're going to add information of our forest, directory type active directory. Add. We'll add account of the administrator. Internet BIOS prefix. Okay. Next. We see that as the active directory domain is not verified. We're going to click continue without matching. And now we have this window where we have domain of OU filtering. So here is where you can filter which OU you want to connect. So here we're going to clear the selection of all the directory. We're going to just left the Office 365 OU. That is the one we're going to seek. Okay, click next. 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 Optional feature. Next. Ready to configure. It's star. Configuration is complete. Now we're going to go verify if the user account from our local directory has been created. So we're going to exit. And we're going to go to the portal of Azure. We're going to go to the user. And now we see that the constant, when we go to the user, so in Azure IG Connect, we saw that the synchronization was enabled and have effect less than 1 hour ago. So to confirm that the synchronization go through, we can also go to the portaloffice.com and we can log in our Office 365 address. And if you go to the admin center, so when we go to the admin center, if we scroll down to user, we can see all our users, CT staff too. CT address, CT staff, those are our users. If we go in the user, we can have all the list of all the users, even those in the sync, the OE Office 365 that we sync. Now we can go to the final task, which is install Windows 10 with WDS. For being able to do that, we need to install the WDS feature. We need to install the DHCP server. First, we're going to add the feature of DHCP. Continue. So now we are adding the DHCP server. Continue. To configure the DHCP server, we need to fix an IP address to the domain controller. So we're gonna go in the settings to fix the address of our domain controller. So we're gonna use the address that the controller already have, which is 192.168.10.57. We got this address through the command ipconfig with the command prompt. So we're gonna fix those information. We're gonna put subnet mask to 55 to 55 to 55.0 and the gateway 192.168.10.3. We need to fix that address so that we can configure this DHCP server. IP address must be of the server was fixed for us to configure the DHCP server. So after fixing the IP address, we're gonna go finish with the setup of the DHCP server. Install. After installing the DHCP server, we're going to go to the installation of the WDS, and we're gonna define the scope for that for the server. So the scope will be the group of addresses that the range of addresses that the server is allowed to attribute to the machine that request the information from it. So now we are going to the authorization. Going to use the username admin. So now we're going to configure the DHCP. We're going to define the scope, IPv4. For doing so, we have to click on before in scope, and we fill the results. So I have to enter the name, the description. The name is gonna be scope. Gonna give as name scope 192.168.0.0, and we're gonna enter the start IP address. It's gonna start from 192.168.0. So we're going to start at 192.168.10.1, end of IP address 198.168.10.150. So we're going to add description. The description is going to be the IP address that are not allowed to be assigned to a workstation. So it's going to be the IP address of the domain controller and the IP address of the gateway. So we're going to enter those information, and we're going to add it to the script address range. And we're going to click next for the lease duration. Next, go for configuration to option. Now, we're going to put the information for the gateway, which is 192.168.110, which is 198.168.10.1. Then we're gonna enter the information for the domain name and DNS server. We're gonna enter the parent domain, which is tcct.jobcreation.com.org. Sorry. We're gonna click next. And we're gonna click next and finish. The scope is configured now. Now we're gonna install the Windows deployment services. For doing so, we're gonna launch the Windows portion and type a command, and that's will be the same as I think a future like Windows deployment services in the server manager. So the command for install Windows deployment services is install Windows feature WDS. Install Windows feature WDS include management tools. So this is the command to install WDS in the server manager in Windows PowerShell. After doing so, gonna take a little moment. So the Windows deployment services will be a feature that will allow us to deploy an image. So we will be able to install an OS on a machine through the network. So now we're going to configure the Windows deployment services. So we're going to click next. We're going to choose integrated with Active Directory next. We're going to leave C remote install. We're going to click on next. In the real environment, they recommend to have another drive, not the same drive, but for the purpose of our lab, we're going to use the same drive. So yes, we're going to give you a warning, but do you still accept it? Say yes. And then we're going to have the configuration for the procedure ship7. You leave as it is. Click next. And now that is done, we're going to install the image, put the image in the service, the server. Before doing that, we started the services of Windows deployment services, and now we're going to install image. So here you have the option to name the group of image that you have, and here is where you're going to browse to the file, the ISO file that I'm going to add. So I link with the drive that have the image, and I had the boot win and install win file. So in my lab, you will see that I add the image of a server, but it's because by mistake I choose the image of the server, but I did it again. I did it another time, but with the right image, but I didn't record it, so I only have this record that I put to show what will be the next step. But if you have the right image, you're going to have the option of the Windows 10, and I'm showing you how to connect the ISO file into the drive. So let's say it's the Windows client OS. So we're going to select the option, the OS that we want to. and click next. The image gonna be add. Again, here you see servers. It's because I did it again, but with the right image, and I did it before. So wait for that. In my lab, I put the image for the server, but it will be like this even if we upload the file of the client machine. For the purpose of my lab, I'm just continue with those images with the server. But it's the same. It will only be Windows 10, not Windows 7. We are showing Windows 7. So we wait, and the image has been added. Almost done. Okay, so the image are linked. So let me show you how we add uh, the image on the drive. So you have to go to the VM option, you connect the drive, and you're gonna go in the data store. You have to connect, make the network adapter connect. That's important because you're gonna boot from the network. And in the data store, you're gonna choose the image in the folder of Windows 10, either Windows 10 1 or Windows 10 2. You're gonna find the image there, and you're gonna upload it on your drive, and it will be accessible, and you will be able to boot from the network. Here is when we launch the Windows 10 deploy the machine that we want to install with WDS. Here's how it goes. And how do we have this page? We have to in the settings select the option boot option, enable UEFI secure boot. We have to select that, and force we have to select force BIOS setup. So that gave us this screen, and we will be able to choose boot from the network. And we want to select the option EFI network. So that it will the machine that go to boot to the network. Let's do it. So for do that, I just wanted to go launch the WDS service, restarted the WDS service. Restart. And now we can continue the boot of the machine to the network. So I'm going to click enter, and we have this, and we choose one operating system to start with, and now the machine was loading, and now we have the page of the Windows deployment services asking us to connect, to enter the credential, to have the permission to complete with the installation. So now we choose the system that we want to install, Windows 10 Enterprise Evaluation. We select it, and we continue with the installation. Next, 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 next. And our machine is loading. For the purpose of the lab, for the video to be not too long, I have to pause and come back when we have an action to do. So I hope you enjoy and that it will help you to understand the concept. Then I will invite you to try by yourself, because you will understand better by doing than viewing. Thank you again for your attention, and we are almost done. So we have worked in a virtual environment. We have worked with the setup of an LDS machine, with installing RSAT tools, installing Office 365, creating user account, admin account, deploy software with PDQ, synchronize on-premises Active Directory to Active Directory, and we finally install Windows 10 with WDS. That are many concepts that are good to know, especially when we want to be an IT pro. And here is our machine. And here is the end of our video. Thank you again, and don't forget to try by yourself. Thank you.